Hey everyone, it's Joy here. Welcome back to my channel for the Card Crafters Collaborative video. It's not really a hop, but there's quite a few ladies that are participating in this, and I will have everyone listed and linked below. So definitely go to their channels, check out their videos for this. If you like what you're seeing, hit subscribe, comment, like, share, all of those things. We really appreciate that. So this is the Fall Splendor theme, and so of course we're going to go fall. So I'm starting with some gorgeous leaf dies from Tailored Expressions. These are the Mosaic Oak, Maple, and Beech leaves. You can get them separately. I will have everything listed and linked for you below, so that way you can check out these products if you want to. I'm going to die cut the solid piece to this die because there's two pieces. The solid piece from white cardstock, and then the mosaic piece that's going to go on top from gold mirror cardstock. So this is where I'm going to bring in the Splendor for the Fall Splendor with some gold mirror. We're also going to be doing some Glimmer hot foil, so definitely hang on for that, and I'm going to be sharing how I make a nice chunky sentiment. So let's get our ink blending going. I have my fun new little rectangle ink holder from Waffle Flower. I want to give them a shout out. I think I mentioned this in another video, but they sent this to me as a gift and I'm so in love with it. I haven't had one of these. I know other people do, but it is so fantastic. Okay, so my color theme is going to be leaning towards the pastel side of fall colors. So for these positively saturated inks from Simon Says Stamp, there is 3 inks in each little color line. So I looked at the darkest color, so I looked for red, orange, and yellow, and then I went to the lightest color in that little color line. So the lightest color for the red was guava, then for the orange was peachy, and then for the yellow will be lemonade. I wanted to keep this really light. I've been doing some other deeper, darker fall color stuff, and I just felt like I needed to just kind of change it up a little bit. Also, I've mentioned before that I really like using small blender brushes because as you can see here, I'm ink blending, but I'm having some darker and lighter areas, and I really like to do that. I feel like you can get shadow areas and highlight areas even when you're ink blending with a blender brush. There is no reason why you can't get that like you would with like Copic markers or you know, something like that. So I like to do that, and I feel like I have more control with the small blender brushes. And these are Simon Says Stamp blender brushes. Okay, let's do our foiling. We're going to foil a sentiment. This is from ReverseConfetti. This is their gather foil combo because you also get a coordinating die, which is super helpful. I'm using my little foil trimmer from Spellbinders to trim out my aura foil because you know I love my aura foil, you guys. And I'm going to use the Glimmer specialty cardstock from Spellbinders as well because this really takes the foil nicely. So I'm going to tape that in place, and I want to add a little hinge. That way if I don't get a good foil, I can put my plate back down with new foil and foil it again. Now, you guys are seeing other foil plates, Glimmer plates here. I was going to do some other foiling on this card, but I actually changed up the background a little bit. So I'm just going to be foiling the sentiment. It's all nice, hot, and ready. I'm running that through my die cut machine, the Platinum 6, nice and slow, and then I'm going to redock that, and then I can pull this back, and we've got a fantastic sentiment. I'm going to use the coordinating die. I'll just tape that in place, and then run that through my die cut machine, and then we have a nice, fantastic, large foiled sentiment. Okay, I decided to do a slimline card. My original card was going to be an A2. And I'm going to use Simon Says Stamp Surf and SEAFOAM along with Pinkfresh Studios Argyle Stencil. This is a slimline stencil. And because it's fall, I want it to feel cozy. And I love these teal colors with oranges and reds, so I felt like this was perfect. So I'm starting with SEAFOAM, which is the lightest in that little color trio that I talked about earlier. And then Surf is the middle one, so it's a little bit darker. So this is a 2-piece stencil. We're going to create this fun little Argyle background, so it's going to feel like a cozy sweater, which I totally love. And I'm using my mini stencil mat from Waffle Flower. You guys know I love this, and you can tell that I use it a lot because it's so beautifully stained, but I think I need to get a new one. They also have a bigger one. I need to get one of those too for slimline cards like this. Usually your stencil doesn't move around a lot, but this one was just sliding around because it wasn't able to grab the stencil mat as good. Okay, let's glue our leaves together. I think once you put this gold on top, these leaves are so stunning, and I love the size of these. They're super, I don't know, they're super fantastic. So I've got my reverse tweezers, my Barely Art glue. I am going to just add not too much glue, but enough that it's going to hold down on all of my leaves. But look at how pretty that is. It's so, I don't know, I just love it. I'm going to glue all of my leaves this way, and just making sure that I get a good, nice adhesion so nothing is going to pop up on me later. Now, I did want to mention that I trimmed down my slimline card panel is 8 1/4 by 3 1/4. And my slimline card base will be white, and that's going to be 8 1/2 by 3 1/2. So I wanted to have my card panel just slightly smaller because then I can have a nice white matte frame around that when I adhere it to my card base. Okay, now that those are done, I am going to stamp the sentiment from ReverseConfetti. This says Autumn Sentiments. This says Happy Fall, y'all. And I'm just going to line this up in my MISTI. I don't have anything adhered down, but I'm just putting things in place so I have an idea of where I want to stamp this. Because my sentiment, my gather sentiment will be chunky, I will not be able to stamp this later. I'm just going to use some black ink because I feel like it's going to break up all of those light colors and all of the gold metallics and foils that we're using. It's going to be a nice little pop of color. And because it's such a small sentiment, I feel like it's not going to overtake the background at all. I'm just making sure it's nice and straight with the grids on the top of my MISTI. And then I'm just going to ink that up with some black ink. And then I'm going to stamp that a couple times to get a good crisp image. Okay, let's make this chunky sentiment. I've talked about this before, but this time I'm doing 4 pieces. So I used the die cut for the foiled sentiment gather and die cut that 3 more times from some white cardstock. Usually I only die cut it twice, and then when you would glue the top piece, you're going to have 3 layers. This is going to have 4 layers, and it made a nice chunky sentiment. I mean, you guys could get away with 5 layers. So it looks like a big, thick, you know, piece of chipboard or something like that. And I loved that I did an extra layer on this. So we're going to adhere that into place right above that other sentiment, and then we can get our leaves gluing on this. And you know me, I like to use foam tape because I love dimension. So you're going to have dimension with the sentiment, and then we're going to have dimension using some foam tape behind some of these leaves. I'm not going to put it behind all of them, because I do like the different levels when you have images like this. So I'm just holding that gather down in place till that glue kind of grabs so it doesn't lift up because it's nice and thick. So let's add some foam tape behind this nice big, I think this is a maple leaf. Or this might be an oak leaf. I don't know, but I think they're so, so pretty. Where I live, when we can kind of see up the mountain when the leaves change, these ones turn so beautifully red, and it's so, so pretty. Okay, so this one I'm just going to lay down with some liquid glue, and I want that kind of hugging that gather sentiment because this is a slimline base, so it's large. And we are going to have some open space there on the right, which I don't mind, but I wanted to make sure that those leaves kind of encroached onto the sentiment. I like to lay my stuff out first just to kind of get an idea, but I'm also trying to hide the stem on that pink leaf. So I'm going to add a piece of foam tape behind this little orange leaf and put that right over it so you really can't see the stem. I didn't want to cut it off, but I didn't want to see it either. So I'm going to tuck in this last little leaf with some liquid glue, and isn't that so pretty against that like teal background? I am so in love with that. Then I want to adhere this to my card base. Oh, first we're going to add some gold foil confetti. This is from Studio Katia. This is some of my favorite, and it matches the Aura foil because both of them have some iridescence to it. So I'm just going to place those down. I'm using an odd number because an odd number is quite pleasing. And I do have this top one in a little bit of a triangular form, which I've talked about before in a couple of my other videos because I do get lots of questions about that. Then I can adhere this to my white slimline card base, which measures 8 1/2 by 3 1/2. And this card is completely finished. And wait till you see it up close. It's so, so pretty and so cozy. I love it. So you guys don't forget to go head on over to these other crafters, check out their YouTube channel, check out their project for the Fall Splendor theme. And I hope that you enjoyed this project. Thank you so very much for stopping by and watching. Have a wonderful day, and I'll be back soon with another video. Bye.